Hello, everybody. This is your Dark Companion. This is the What's on Mike's Mind edition of your Dark Companion. It is the 13th of January. And we have had big news come down today. The type of news where I think we all knew this was coming. The way the wind was blowing was pointing us all in this direction, and now we find out that it is indeed the case. The Dallas Football Cowboys are going to have another head coach next year. Now, I know that's hard for some of you to accept. I know that you're having a tough time with this. For that reason, we've brought in Greggo to help us out with this.
Hammer time.
If he can't talk us through this, nobody can.
Well, Texaram never had these problems, Ron. So he never had to replace a head coach. But Jerry's doing it for the 9th time.
Yep, he is. And the longer it goes and the more times he does it, the worse things seem to get. Although they weren't bad with McCarthy. They were not bad with McCarthy at all. I mean, I think McCarthy is what he is. He's a coach. Is he anything special? No. Is he a transcendent football mind? No. But is he a guy who players seem to like him and seem to be eager to play for him? Yeah, he is. And I'll bet in that room, opinions are going to range from indifference to indifference about it. You know, there's nothing special about the guy. I don't think he goes out of his way to be anybody's buddy or anything like that, but I think the players play for him, and I think they liked him. And as the season went on, I think that their view of him grew. They thought more of him as the season went along.
I think you put it perfectly. He didn't do anything to keep his job, and he didn't do anything to get fired.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. He's just a guy.
Yeah. And you know what? That's the way it is with all Cowboy coaches. And if you're going to run things that way where you're not going to put them in position to really do anything to keep their job, well, then all they're going to do is make sure they don't lose it. And that's when you have just a guy.
And they had him in here, and he had 3 straight seasons of 12-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never heard players complaining about him too much. I mean, it's not like I was around him every day or anything, but I think if the players were not into playing for Mike McCarthy, that would have made its way around a little bit. It probably would have made its way around to me, and it didn't.
Yeah. If I can just address the elephant in the room, nothing's going to change.
No.
I mean, everybody thinks, okay, all right, we got McCarthy out of here. Now, if we'll just get a young, dynamic coach in here that understands the analytics of the game, then we can win Super Bowls again.
If you think that, you're a fool.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Now we're going to sit here and we're going to go through a couple coaches on who might end up here. And they can coach their ass off, and they can yell and scream and write platitudes over everywhere and make signs. But until Jerry says yes, it's always a no. And nothing's going to change. And the main thing that a change would do is change the mindset of the Dallas Cowboys. And until that mindset is changed, you got a creeping malaise.
That's right. Creeping malaise. This has been, without question, the weirdest year of Cowboy football that I can remember in a long time. Because everything that happened out there this year seemed to have no rhyme, no reason. It didn't seem to make any sense. It wasn't particularly good. It wasn't particularly bad. It just, I don't know. It just, everything that happened seemed to keep the team right where it was.
And the thing that drove me crazy is in the middle of the season, they get their built-in excuse. Oh, we lost our quarterback. Oh, the whole season. And so then that just means that right off the whole season. And basically in the NFL, it does mean that. You lose your quarterback, that's it. But it also gives a team like the Cowboys that excuse. Well, if we'd have had our quarterback. Well, last year we lost old Dak. We didn't have our quarterback. And it becomes excuse after excuse after excuse. And that builds into the mindset of a losing mindset. And right now the Cowboys have I think, perception as a losing franchise.
Something you said there really struck me, and that is about the backup quarterback. Look, quarterback injuries happen in this league. If your quarterback plays all 17 games, then that is well played, man. But the vast majority of them don't, for whatever reason. Some of them are just lousy, like Daniel Jones. The New York Football Giants got rid of him. He wasn't hurt or anything like that. I don't remember him being hurt, but he was lousy. And other teams' quarterbacks have gotten hurt. So why do we place such little value on the role of the backup quarterback in this league? Because if you got a guy who may not play that well, if you got a guy who very likely is going to get hurt, then why do you not do more to make sure you've got somebody there who can at least keep you in some of these games?
Because of the built-in salary structure of the quarterback position. You have to pay this quarterback so much that you don't have anything left over. I mean, you're paying Dak, and this is a serious question, and you don't win in the NFL without an elite quarterback. But seriously, what would you rather have going in? A $50 million quarterback or two really good $25 million a year quarterbacks? To where if you lose one, then the other one can come in and you're not going to lose that much. And if the first one isn't getting the job done, you got another one that might be able to change the pace a little bit. What would you rather have?
It makes sense. It does make sense. But it will never happen.
But that would never happen.
No, it'll never happen.
I mean, the day of Earl Morrall is over. A career backup that when he came in there for Johnny Unitas, not much loss. When he came in for Bob Greasy, not much. But you don't have that anymore because of the pay structure.
Yep, all the money's going to go to the number one guy. And that's, I don't know, I was going to say that's wrong, but there ain't no right or wrong here. There's no right, no wrong. There's just the way it is. And the way it is the way it is.
And you're not going to change it. I mean, too much money involved. I mean, both ways. I mean, you think the Players Association is going to suddenly come in and go, you're right. We're overpaying our quarterbacks. We're going to have a 25% cut. You think they're going to? I mean, they may be talking about a 25% raise, but that's it. And it's not going to change. And until stuff like that, having to put so much, revenue into one player, that just hamstrings a team like the Cowboys that needs so many other things.
And especially when you have to put that much as they did, and they put more into him that they had to. But as much as they put into Dak, they have made an upper second tier quarterback, which is what he is. He's not elite. He's not even first tier. He's upper second tier. He's close to first tier, and he'll have games where he plays like a first tier quarterback. But on the whole, you look at him and say that he's an upper second tier quarterback. Now, you can win with an upper second tier quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all with that. Super Bowls have been won by upper second tier quarterbacks, and more than one or two. But that's what Dak is, yet things are so out of whack in this game, and especially with this team, that they made him the highest paid player in all American team sports. Not just football, but baseball, basketball, hockey, anything else you might care to name. He is the highest paid player in all American team sports, an upper second tier quarterback. Explain that.
Yeah, Greggo.
You can't explain it.
No, you can't explain it.
It's just that crazy quarterback structure that got out of whack. I mean, quarterbacks, I can remember when, good grief, man. I mean, they're paying Troy Aikman $6 million a year. How do they do that?
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, they're making $20 million a year. just overnight. And I keep saying, well, there's going to be an end to it. I don't think there is. I think people are going to pay for it. And, pretty soon you're going to have to pay $9.99 for every playoff game. People will just keep paying it, and you'll keep paying quarterbacks $60 million a year.
Things go one way in this world.
They do.
They're going that way now, and I don't know what it's going to take to change that. I don't know if it can be changed or will be changed. But things go one way in this world, and the Cowboys they're going to rue the day that they gave Dak Prescott that contract. Now, I realize they probably had no real choice. Of course, we were told that they were all in at the start of the year. And then they went out there and did everything but act like a team that was truly all in. I just don't understand what's going on with this thing anymore. It's impossible to fathom.
You and I were there at the genesis of Jerry and all that, and we saw all that formation. And there was just, I really hate to come on here and get old age syndrome, but this is just the truth. And I'm telling you, I was there, so I witnessed it. I'm not like some history book. Rhynes and I were there. There was a different mindset. I mean, that team was full of killers. They were full of people that would do whatever it took to win a football game. Whatever it took.
Football players, but you know what else they were full of? Jimmy.
Yes. Well, he was the number one killer.
Yeah.
He was the Mafia Don.
Yeah.
And
as time goes by, it has proven more and more. I know you've heard me say this a million times. But as time goes by, it's proven more and more with every passing year. The only reason that what happened here in the 90s happened was Jimmy.
No argument here, because I was there and you were there and we saw it.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened when he left.
And we also saw the way those players reacted to him and the way they were with him and how they were worried every single day that today was not going to be a good day because something was going to happen to piss Jimmy off. And when Jimmy wasn't happy, there was nobody happy.
Oh, just remember those press conferences that we'd go to on Tuesday?
Oh, yeah.
And you could always gauge the Cowboys' mood by Jimmy. And because Jimmy, he went in there with an agenda where he was going to get his message of the week out.
Yes, he did.
And he did it. And you know who listened to it more than anybody? Those players.
Absolutely.
And if you want proof on how that got out of whack, when Jimmy left and they brought in Barry Switzer, you're not going to get me say anything bad about Barry Switzer. He was a man in an impossible situation. But all of a sudden you had people like Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and especially Michael Irvin just going nuts because Switzer was just letting all these underlings run around and not do stuff right. And these vets...
he was letting stuff slide.
Yeah, and these vets are like, no, we don't do that. And Barry's like, what does it hurt? We got Danny Bradley over here. Dean Blevins. Yeah. And all of a sudden, and Troy Aikman never adjusted. I mean, that ended his career.
No.
When Jimmy left. He got another Super Bowl and he added to some stats, but he never had fun after Jimmy left because the winning ways left, and he saw those winning ways slowly slip out the door.
He was not the only one.
No,
there are a lot of Jimmy guys in that room, and those players today everyone, I haven't talked to all of them or about it or anything like that, but every time I do run into one of them that I may happen to know a little bit, I always get him talking about Jimmy. And the thing that I come away with is that the only reason those things that happened back then happened was because of Jimmy. When Jimmy left, everything changed. But you know what? We
put on pause for 1 year when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or 2 years.
Yeah, it was a slow roll.
Yeah.
It didn't change overnight because they had enough momentum at their back to where they knew what to do and they could win them a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer, and they did. And that's all well and good. That's fine. But we got to stay in the here and now.
Yep.
That's a long time ago. And the here and now has that the Cowboys are looking for another coach. So would you like some names?
So I'll
I
say
would.
real quick, though, Jerry did put out a statement about the firing.
he did?
Or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yes. There's a...
Yeah,
All right,
the
there's
parting
a-
of ways.
Okay, there's a statement here from Cowboys owner, president, and general manager, Jerry Jones.
You know what? He can kiss my ass on that title.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just always hear owner, general manager, which is weird enough as is.
I do like in the not quite official statement, like the one that looks like it was emailed to the press, and make sure to include in the first block a quote from Jerry, and then said Cowboys owner, president, general manager Jerry Jones. Like, yeah, the thing starts with statement from Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. We get it. It's Jerry. It's only
Okay.
his voice.
Okay, here's what he says. Throughout Mike McCarthy's tenure here, including the last several weeks, I have been very complimentary of the job he has done. That is applied to our record over that time period, our team unity and culture, Mike's qualifications and track record of success, and on a personal level as a tremendous human being. God. I have great respect for Mike, and he has led the team through some very unique and challenging times during his tenure. Over the past week, Mike and I had the opportunity to conduct a joint review of all aspects of the past season, our players and staff, and also spent considerable time discussing the road forward for the team. These discussions were thorough and received an appropriate amount of time and depth to cover. Prior to reaching the point of contract negotiations, boy, this is some serious word salad here. It became mutually clear that it would be better for each of us to head in a different direction.
Would it be better if I played some bongos over here?
I thank Mike and wish him and his wife Jessica and their family the best. They've been a wonderful part of our community here. We will commence a search process immediately to hire the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. There you go. That's where things stand. Yeah, give me the list. Give me the VIN.
So, was Jerry playing a power play here and Mike McCarthy called him on it? Did Jerry think that he can push him and in the end Mike McCarthy's going to go, well, I don't have anywhere to go, so I'm going to go ahead and agree to these terms? And if that's the case, that means Jerry Jones has nobody on his short list right now.
Well, fortunately, the Dallas Morning News has several names on theirs. Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, let's
Are we going to comment on these as we go, or are we just going to run through them?
Let's go from 5 to 1 here.
Oh, they've got them ranked.
Yeah, they got them ranked. So we'll start with 5. Number 5, and I don't think there's a chance in hell of this unless he just wants to be the coach of the Cowboys, which could be Steve Sarkisian, who is now the head coach of the Running Horns.
Don't count that out. I'm saying don't count it out. You get to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Don't count it out. I'm just saying don't count it out because you can put together packages of money and power and get a guy like that. And is he the wave of the future? I'm just saying, I don't want to bog things down, but I'm just saying don't count him out, a guy like that.
No, I wouldn't count him out, but it's going to come down to how badly does he want to leave that where he is the king of the hill to coach the Cowboys.
It is the NFL.
Yeah,
And no matter how
it
king
is the Cowboys.
And no matter how king of the hill he is at Texas, that ain't the NFL. And it ain't the Dallas Cowboys. It's not like you're going to coach the Bengals or the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to see this, but I think there's a path here. I think there's a path where this could happen. The question is, does he want to walk down it? We'll see. That's number 5. Number 4, Brian Flores.
I fear he'll be the token, the token interview, and he's a good man and would be a good fit here. He can fix that defense.
He is now the head coach of the the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, not the head coach.
And they were good this year.
The defensive coordinator. He is formerly the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
And they got a bunch of players tried to run him off down there. He's a good guy, Rons.
I hear he's a hard ass.
Yes, he is.
No, this team needs a hard ass.
Do they ever?
But can a hard ass work in the NFL these days?
Well, so far it's not.
Well, that's another thing, too. That's another thing for any of these guys. Can they work with Jerry? Do they understand the lay of the land around here? Do they understand that the owner general manager is the owner general manager of the whole thing, and he manages everything and he owns everything?
And if they think they can work with Jerry, well, they'll be the first one because no head coach ever has. It hasn't happened.
He would also allow the Cowboys to break the color barrier at head coach. So there's that. Number 3. Now, if you want a wild card here, and I think this is one to keep an eye on, John Gruden.
Once again, that would probably be the guy that I'd pick if Jerry would cede some power to him. I think I'd roll the dice that his type of being a hard ass on players respect and would they might answer to. I'm a big John Gruden fan, and I think he got railroaded out of the league.
Well, he is suing the NFL.
Yeah, there is that.
So there's that.
Jerry can get him to drop that pretty quick.
Also, he comes with baggage.
Tremendous amount.
Because there were racist and homophobic emails that caused him to resign from the greatness. So, I don't know. Is this guy too hot to handle?
He might be, which is exactly the reason you want him in there. You want an outlaw in there. You don't want a nice guy. You want somebody to come in here and kick some ass and, stand up for his team and everything else. You need a guy like, it's a mindset change, Ryan, and that's what they need, which is the reason he's not going to get the gig.
Yeah, it's a mindset change, but he sounds like he's just too hot to handle. But
Jerry's never worried about that. He traded for Charles Haley. He signed Dion.
Yeah.
He hung with Michael Irvin when everybody else would have dropped him into grease.
Yeah.
He doesn't run from controversy. I don't think this would factor in, but not a lot.
All right, number 2 on the list. Lane Kiffin.
I used to ask this question a lot in the old days, and I'm going to ask it again. What the hell's he ever done?
Well,
other than having Kiffin as a last name,
he has made something out of Ole Miss. There's that.
What, by winning 8 games a year, 7-8 games a year?
That's pretty good for them for the way things have been. But still, I don't know.
And then I ask you this: his personality against Jerry's, I don't see it.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it either.
I don't even see an interview. I don't see a possibility.
Yeah. Jerry's buddies with Al Davis. And Lane Kiffin used to work for Al Davis, and that didn't go real well. Good offensive coach, has done well down at Ole Miss. Made football matter down there again. But we're talking about Ole Miss.
Now, if he
Not the
went into
Dallas
Ole
football
Miss and turned it around and they won an SEC title, it's another thing. But he went in there and took a state school with a little bit of tradition, and he made it where it wins 8 games. If that's success to get you a Dallas Cowboy gig, there's a lot of candidates.
And number 1.
Here we go.
At the top of the list. Top of everybody's list. And this is the guy I think people are going to be rooting for. I know out of all of these, I think he is by far the best on the list. He is in the NFL right now. He is the offensive coordinator of the Washington football team, Cliff Kingsbury.
There's a lot of philosophies on that guy. That he went to the NFL too quick and he got a little too cocky and he got knocked down. He's building himself back up. That has the recipe of a very successful coach.
Yeah, and the other thing is he's a big quarterback guy. Dak Prescott is going to be playing his ages 32, 33, and 34 seasons coming up here. And it is speculated on this list that what they need is a guy who can get the most out of him at those ages. And Kingsbury would come into play here because he got a lot out of Kyler Murray. He built him up when he had him there. And Jaden Daniels, I thought, was about as good as any of the numerous young quarterbacks who came in the league. And Kingsbury was working with him. He's going to need a good defensive coordinator because he's an offensive guy. But I think this would be the play if you can possibly get him.
That's another thing. I mean, is he going to get to be able to pick his coordinators? The head coach?
I don't know.
I mean, all this is negotiable with Jerry.
Yeah.
And
now here's something else. Kingsbury is expected to interview this week with the Bears, who are also looking for a coach, where he could coach Caleb Williams, and he worked with Williams at USC in 2023.
How can he interview this week? I thought they were shut off, the teams. I thought they had 1 week last week, teams that are still playing.
I don't know.
Wow, I guess they gave him this. Wow.
But
that's weird.
It just says Kingsbury is expected to interview this week with Chicago.
Yikes.
Remember, he coached at Tech. Could be a great in here in Dallas.
Well, if they can get him, I think they should get him. But we're back to square one, and that is, can he work with Jerry?
He's going to say he can, but once again...
he's going to say he can, but all the rest of them said that too.
And none of them
McCarthy thought he could. All the rest of them have too. And you know what? In the end game, none of them can.
And the thing is, what it's reduced this job to is that no matter what name we call out, no matter who we identify, no matter who we think would be the best fit, it always comes with a caveat, well, can he work with Jerry? And the question is always no.
Yeah.
And so what does it doesn't matter who the coach is of the Dallas Cowboys.
Even though the guy will stand there with the press conference and say, oh, we can work with Jerry. I've talked to Jerry and we're on the same page already. And I think it's going to be a really solid, productive, working relationship. You know what? It will be till it ain't.
Yeah. And I just don't see anything changing. I mean,
no, nothing's going to change.
I'll never forget when we found out, because we were 11-2, obviously, when Jimmy was fired. I'll never forget that day. And they called us in. Remember, Dunn and Miller were going 2-5. Remember, they called us in, and it was like, that God came down from heaven. The news. It was huge news. And today it's kind of like, well, yeah, Jerry's looking for another coach again. This is no big deal. And that's a shame.
You look at the Mike McCarthy tenure, and all you can say is things ended the only way they could end. And it's too bad. Because Mike McCarthy had a lot of supporters in that room. His players played for him. His players seemed to like him. They seemed to like playing for him. Now, I never got that myself because he seemed like just a big lug to me, but I don't know the guy, you know? And what I think doesn't matter anyway. What matters is what his players think of him, and they seem to like him. They seem to like playing for him, but that was then. This is now. And what does now look like? Who the freaking hell knows?
You know what I wish I could do? And this never happened. I wish that somebody could get Jerry to sit down and just answer questions and not go into philosophy and word salads. And what do you want in a head coach? What do you want?
Well, if he's telling the truth, the answer is somebody who will do what I tell him to.
But then you know, you came up 7 on Jimmy, and you've rolled snake eyes on everybody since.
Yeah.
You got lucky once. That leads me to believe that was luck. I used to give Jerry a lot of credit for bringing Jimmy in. I'm beginning to think now that that's just like the only guy he could get in here at the time after writing a $140 million check that he didn't have.
Well, whatever the reason, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. And you know what? Ever since then, nothing has. Nothing.
And who's making all the calls?
That hasn't changed.
Hard to argue with Jerry. I mean, he took a $140 million investment and turned it into a $10 billion franchise. I'm not arguing that. But he's not winning a lot of titles. And, you know, that he's got to get credit for that Cowboy mystique because he kept it up and he multiplied it eons. But it all comes down to winning on the football field, and he hadn't mastered that yet. He can make money. He can build stadiums. He can build empires, but he can't build a football team. Can't.
He will also tell you they're all in, and they're not. That was not all in what you saw from them this year.
What would happen? Well, let's play hypothetical, Ron. What would happen if Jerry wouldn't have been so hard-headed and they would have signed Derrick Henry and Dak wouldn't have got hurt?
Who knows?
Because odds are Dak might not have been running if they had a Derrick Henry on that play.
Yeah.
You know, what would happen? How would that have changed what's going on now?
They might be still playing.
Yep.
They might be still playing.
I hate playing that kind of hypothetical games, but my gosh, I mean, he's never given a valid excuse on why he didn't sign that guy.
Oh, he said they couldn't afford it.
Well, that's just crazy.
How much is your franchise worth?
$10 billion.
Okay. You can afford Derrick Henry. Don't give us this, we couldn't afford him shit.
You know, if you can't afford him, really? You can't afford it? Well, let me help you with the finances, Jerry. Sell your helicopter. There you go, $8 million. That's all Derrick Henry costs, your helicopter. Sell your helicopter and sign Derrick Henry. Problem solved.
Yeah, but there's status that goes with a helicopter.
Yeah, you know what their status is? Lombardi trophies. He's got 5. Well, he's got 3. He's got 2 he claims.
Yeah.
But he's got 3.
Yeah, but that's all like a helicopter. That's status for Gene and the kids.
Well, you can have all that. You know, I'm just saying that's a bad football move. And a good football guy probably Jimmy wouldn't have made that move. Jimmy would have signed Derrick. He'd have looked at everything and go, you know what? The guy lives here. He wants to play here. He's playing for a reduced price. And I think he's still got some tread on the tires. But Jerry,
he shows how much tread he has left on the tires every single week. And every single week, it looks like he just went out and bought a new set.
And where does he get all of his yards? In what quarters? The 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
Where did Emmitt Smith get all his?
Same.
Mindset Jimmy.
Yeah.
You wear them down.
That's it.
Zeke wasn't going to wear anybody down this year. Zeke wasn't going to do that.
He's going to wear out the asses of Cowboy fans.
I don't know. It's just it's so frustrating because the NFL, and we've been there, it's a better league when the Dallas Cowboys are winning titles. It just is. It's more fun. It's more entertaining on all fronts. And they need to bring that back. And like I said, they need to add a little outlaw to this franchise. Because when they were outlaws, they won. And all you people say, well, they won in the 70s. Let me tell you, They were outlaws in the 70s, brother. They were big-time outlaws, just like they were in the 90s. And they won titles. And you can't win it by being nice guys.
You can't win it with Mike McCarthy either, apparently.
Is he a
We'll have the
lug? Is he a
opportunity to
lug,
find that
Ryan?
out.
Is he a lug?
He's got a little bit of lug in him. He's got a little bit of lug in him, but I like the guy,
I do too.
you know, and I think he's getting a bum deal here.
He didn't do anything to get fired.
No, he
but
didn't.
But he didn't do anything to keep his job.
Yeah, that's it. He didn't do what he was put here to do, but he also didn't screw anything up too bad.
So let him go to Chicago.
He's just kind of there.
Let him go to Chicago, have the quarterback that paints his fingernails, and let him win a title there and become Mike Ditka. It's all set up for him.
All right, that's what's going on with the Cowboys today. And this has been What's on Mike's Mind. Thanks for watching.
All right. I'm gonna go take my pants off.
You're Our Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.